Hi guys, Artiar here. So for this video, we'll be focusing on three kind of player, which is either you are a new player, you're a fairly new player, or you are a returner player, or you are a player who want to understand more about how to play Dislyte. Then this video will help you out because this is more focused on those. And then this spreadsheet here is provided by Taron and Kay. Alright, so they are both the guide writers in the official Dislyte Discord. And then if you are at official Dislyte support Discord, they actually posted a lot of guides. They actually also replies a lot of new player or returner player question at the official Dislyte Discord, right? So they actually make a spreadsheet here, compiling all their information or all their knowledge into one spreadsheet here. Like we look at the bottom here, we have like introduction, early game info, what is exper stats, what is equipment anatomy, equipment sets, exper equipment, early wish list, first Shimmer reverb, story, spatial tower, cube team, like all these ritual bosses, our Desolate bosses as well. They made every single guide here, and I actually went through it. It's actually very detailed there, so I decided to make a video, and I hope this video actually help those players who want to understand how to actually play Dislyte instead of just copy pasting team, and how like new player or returner player how to understand what is the mechanic or what is the Dislyte gameplay now, right? So before I start everything else, you can see here they did mention that what is the guide target for is they only target on early account so the player can get an easier start. But there's no plan for covering like Ritual 17 above, which is like the end of the end game ritual mode, and then Desolate boss that is hard mode, which is also one of the end game content, Infinity Tower and Temporal Tower that is hard mode, which is also end game content. Then they didn't focus on PvP because PvP is really depends on the current meta, right? So the PvP will always have their environment changes, so it's very hard to make a PvP guide in Dislyte. Like every PvP team have their own specific counter, so it's too majority of the database, so we can't really cover that. And then Sentinel Hunt and Falsetto Fantasy is also endgame PvE, so they won't be covering those because they are actually more focusing on early game and to returner play as well. Then they did mention like what kind of Dislyte game, what is Dislyte game, early recommendation, what should you focus on, why there's no global tier list. But yeah, there's no global tier list, so that's why I made into like a PvE tier list and a PvP tier list. You can also go check out the video that I posted whenever you watch this video, which tier list is the latest one, then you go watch that one, because I will continuously update the tier list like every few patches, right? So in early game info here, they did mention like what should you do, like follow the tutorial, get Jiangman as a free epic, because like they'll give you 3 choices, which is the rabbit Emma, and then Sander and Jiangman. So they did recommend you to get Jiangman, and then you should progress with your stories. At some point new difficulty will unlock, and then you'll get more rewards, right? And then they did tell you like what should you focus on your Nexus Crystal, and then what should you progress later, like Sonic Reef, Ritual Miracles, and Sonic Miracles, all these things. So they'll step by step, like from step 1 until you keep scrolling down, you go until step 28. Because there's a lot of things to actually play in Dislyte at early game to mid game. Unless you are like one of the very end game and you pretty much clear every content, then the gameplay of Dislyte will be like about collecting exper, how to push your score higher, right? But before that, there's actually a lot of things to go. Like you can chase for exper, specific reso, all those things, right? So everything here they did for cover. And then they did telling you what is early game. Like in a lot of my video, I've been telling like, oh, if you are at early game, if you're at mid game, if you're at end game, if you're at end of the end game. So they did mention like what is early game. So early game is you have to at least clear your story mode, purgatory, and then you complete the spatial tower. Your cube level is level 6, and then complete calamity tower at least 50 floor, and then ritual miracle you at least reach until difficulty 8. Then you finish early game. Then if you what is mid game, right? So if your ritual is 16, if you are still haven't cleared Miracle 16 and you are setting that as a goal, then you are at mid game, and then you are able to clear Temporal Tower, Easy, Desolate Land, Falsetto Fantasy, and Sentinel Hunt, Calamity Island. Then you are somewhere at mid game, right? So if you are able to clear everything here that they mentioned, then you are actually stepping into end game. Then as per stats, they did mention like they did teach you what is HP, what is defense, what is tuning, why should you tune them, or what should you focus on. Then what is crit rate, and then how should you tune them, they did mention as well. And if you don't understand about what is accuracy and resist, they did explain everything here very detailed, because this is actually a very detailed information for most of the player that who just copy paste the stats. They don't really understand how the accuracy and resist works. They did mention everything here, so this is a very good information. I highly recommend you guys actually go check out the link. I'll put the link at the video description and the comment pin as well. You can go check it out. And then what is the speed tune? Like in a lot of my video about the end of the end game, right? Speed running certain content, speed tuning. I keep mentioning about speed tune your exper, stats tune your exper. How do you speed run? Because you have to speed tune your team. So what is speed tune? They did mention about here as well. So you can go check it out. Then equipment anatomy, they did mention like how the equipment works, like what is this for, what is the ring here, what is the headphone, this is 2-piece set, this is 4-piece set. They did mention about everything you need to know about the equipment thing. For me, I would say this is not really too important, because it's like a very common system compared to the other gacha game. Like there's a lot of gacha game that have the equipment system as well, right? But it's just a better understanding like what is the equipment anatomy. Then equipment sets, they did mention that let's say like Chronos dropped this kind of 4-piece set, which is War, Wind, and Frost. Then they did separate into PvE ranking and PvP ranking. Like let's say PvE here, Frost is a D rank, like totally useless, all those stuff, right? They did make a ranking here so you can more focus or more understanding which kind of equipment you should actually go for. And they also break down like why are they good or why are they not good. Let's say Frost set, right? They did mention that it's mostly for PvP, it's used for tanky, slow, and auto support or controller exper. It's a very niche set. Effect doesn't benefit from all those things. They did mention very well, so you can also go check it out. I already looked through everything. It's a very good explanation. Then exper equipment, they did mention like early cheat sheet, your DPS should build something like this. Your controller should be using something like this. Your supporter should be using something like this. And then the stats to focus is something like this. Then if your DPS can crits, then you should go something like this. If the DPS is an attack scaling exper, then you can go for something like this. And then defense scaling exper can go something like this. And then your main stats to focus, they did mention here as well. So this is a very complete guide for you to actually teach you how to build your exper as well, instead of me teaching you every single exper. Of course, they have if you want to watch like min maxing how to build the exper, I will cover that part. But overall, here is a very complete guide for you as well. Then the most important thing, the formation preset. I believe a lot of players still doesn't know about this. Formation preset is one of the best quality of life in Dislyte, because Dislyte is a turn-based game. There's a lot of team building surrounding it, and then formation preset is very important here. They did mention like how to use it as well. Then the early wish list here is, which is more focused on new player when you started the game, like what kind of exper you should actually focus on first to get first, right? They did cover like Feng Shun, Lushang, all these things, which is pretty much I cover on my previous video as well. The R0 exper one is pretty much the same thing, but they did add in other choices as well. Then they did one of the most common question for new player and returner player that didn't chose their first Shimmer reverb yet. They did mention their tier as well, like what are they good for, what are they not good for as well. Then this is some theme for the story and spatial tower. They make a good choices at the beginning one. All these exper here is pretty easy to achieve or maybe easy to get as well. They did break down like how do you tackle hell mode, how do you make a team, like controller. These are some choices here. Supporter, speed leader, which is very important at the early game to mid game. And you notice that there's no healer here because they are actually their supporter slot. And if you are pushing like the story stages, all these things, you don't really need a healer because you can control them most of the time. Then they also break down like what kind of team you can use for Sonic Rave, Chrono's team here, APAP. Everything here is very accurate and is very good. They did break down like what is the idea behind it, and then what are the hints, and then what is the different difficulty, because different difficulty APAP have a different effect. Let's say if you're at hard mode, Inferno Esper deals more damage, so you should actually focus more on Inferno Esper. And then if you're at expert mode, the Toxic Detonation actually will dispel all your buffs, so it's getting harder and harder. Maybe some player didn't know that there's actually extra mechanic on those ritual bosses when you get harder difficulty, right? And then they break down like also all those bosses and what kind of team build you can actually try to build for. Okay, that including Desolate Land as well. They did mention like what kind of bosses you should the bosses will do, and then what kind of stats or what kind of thing you should actually notice, right? Everything here is very detailed, so I really highly recommend you guys to go check it out, especially the Shadow Glow one. If you don't really understand how the Shadow Glow works, this part here will actually help you guys. Okay, I hope this video actually helped those players who are still looking for a very good guide for new player, returner player, or maybe those player who really want to understand more about Dislyte so they can actually enjoy about team building, because in Dislyte, team building is actually a very big part of the gameplay. Like how to build your Esper, how to build a team in specific content is actually a very fun part to actually go and like observe and try yourself, right? I hope this video actually help you guys out, and also special thanks to Taron and Kay again, because this guy is actually very detailed. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed the video and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. Special thanks for the direct support on the YouTube membership. So for the benefactor of Artiar, which is Gen MP, Yakishiba Tales, Kemi, thank you so much for your support. And for the supporter and patron of Artiar, which is Louis Schneider, Agni, Code Wardeners, Wang Tamer, Ziggy, Kamaruki, Sunwops, Rimu, Chorny, Von Hexa, Antonio Winterspoon, Marlene Williams, Eric Mendes, Ium Cragren, Riku Fred X Iris, Calamity, Rocco Stenzions, thank you so much for your support. Special thanks for the direct support on the live stream super chat for the latest 10. Thank you so much for Code Wardeners, Calamity, Agni, Love Fatima, Fatima Little Underwear, Bloods, Riku Fred, Chorny. Thank you so much for your support.